Anything else? No? Ambulance service.
I mean, I've got an ordinance drafted pursuant to your request at the last meeting. You guys asked me to prepare the ordinance amending the composition of the ambulance board. Essentially, everything in the proposed ordinance, the original ordinance is the exact same with the exception of we are adding, rather than one county commissioner being on the ambulance board, there will be, pursuant to this proposed ordinance, there are now 3 county commissioners. So there will be 5 voting members, 3 county commissioners and 2 council members. The non-voting members is the same. The ordinance is the exact same with the exception of adding the change from 1 county commissioner to 3 county commissioners. So I've got that ordinance prepared. I don't know if you guys want to have any further discussion. If you have any comments or concerns. Yeah.
If I may speak for a moment, I think there needs to be further concern on it or further discussion on it.
Go ahead.
There's several people here in this audience today who didn't get a chance to really speak the last time, and they're public and elected officials as well. And I feel like it would only be right to hear their opinions on things. This is a serious issue that you guys are bringing forward. You're taking a fiscal controlled board by the council away from them.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
What is the fear?
The fear is that you guys are pushing your own agenda. That's the fear.
That's not true whatsoever.
If that's not true, then why haven't you picked up the phone and called Nick when you've had his number for 3 months? If that's not the fear, then answer that question. I'm waiting for an answer. Because continually all I get are calls about rumor after rumor after rumor, where one said commissioner cannot pick up the phone and call the ambulance director himself. He picks up the phone and calls other employees there, which creates a hostile work environment. So if it's not going to get any better then, it sure as hell isn't going to get any better when you step on the board.
Nick?
This is our new protocol. Over 200 pages of protocol. This right here, my section that has to do with death and bodies. I can assure you, everything that has happened within my facility is 150% protocol. I'll be a big example for you guys. When I came on board, I was not happy with our protocols. So whoever is getting the information, dead bodies, the first person to leave the patient on scene is 150% false. And the fact that that information is coming to people, not me, shows that there's an issue. Because I have a copy of these on every book, in my station, in my office, in my training department's office, everywhere. If the information about my service, it needs to come from me. I've not lied one single bit. I've not misconstrued. I've not misinformed one bit. So there's zero reason for me not to be approachable. And I'd like to give this to you. That way, there is no discussion further about my protocols when it comes to bodies. And if you guys would like a full copy.
And I don't know what the reason is changing anyway, because why don't you just switch commissioners out? Do what? Why don't you just switch commissioners out? That's fine with me. I'm ready to give it up. Because
Well, if you're ready to give it up, then I have a suggestion.
Stop just a minute, okay? I have the floor.
You asked me a question.
I did.
You give me a statement today that I knew nothing about till yesterday, and then I hear something about we're hauling bodies that are being charged for, and I knew nothing about it. Now, I don't know where part of this is coming from. I'm asking Rick, and come forward if you want. All I was asking for is a 3-member board to where if I can't go there, or I got to go to the Board of Health, or I got to go to the jail, or I got to go to the wherever I get called for, and I called you the other day and talked to you.
Yes, sir.
Did we talk anything about a dead body?
No.
I knew nothing about a dead body.
No, that's been concern of others, in that I'm charging insurance for hauling dead bodies and all this. Who I would have to choose, or who I would have to charge to haul a body would be Peg. And instead of me billing her office, I'm eating that because I'm driving 22 yards away from where she is.
And I understood what you were telling me.
And me and you had that conversation. There's zero reason, because at the end of the year, if I haul maybe 10, 15 bodies, that's $2 to $3 grand out of her budget, which could be 10%.
I understand.
That's less than 2% out of my budget. So there's no reason for the exchange of funds.
It made sense to me.
Right,
It made sense to me.
right. So, but there's some people that think that other things are going on, so I wanted to provide you with that information.
There is nothing going on. Well, it makes sense that if he's there, why wouldn't he haul it back to save the county some money?
There was a natural death down in Fredericksburg about 2-3 weeks ago. I talked to the medical saint, which was Nick, and he told me told Nick, I said, give me a little bit, I'll be on my way down. And he said, we're coming back up anyway. I'm going to save you the trip of coming down and bring the body back to you. I said, that's awesome. I will meet professional courtesy.
Can I ask you a question? When the body was found and he brought it back, Nick, did you take the body to the hospital? Did we not get in that trouble before?
That's what's been down for
It's a different scenario.
Let's not talk about pending litigation.
About the guy that had medical history, he had a DNR, he had been found deceased by his family, he's cold, he's in full rigor.
Okay,
No efforts have been started.
okay,
No efforts have been started.
okay.
Yeah, let's stop this, because
Let's
there's a
stop.
pending litigation case against Washington County. It's in no one's best interest to discuss the facts and circumstances surrounding that case in a public meeting.
Yeah,
The firm got back to me also that it was not correct for him doing that. In my mind, it's a professional courtesy.
and I agree. And when you told me it was saving money to the county,
Exactly.
no problem. Now, sorry, you were asking?
I was asking that if the commissioners don't want to be on the board, public opinion is of the right to put a medical professional as a voting member on the board. So we have a medical professional in the room who has been wanting to be on the board for several years. I think the commissioners should hear what she has to say and vote her as your voting member. You guys aren't losing your control. You still get to be able to vote on purchases over $75,000 as written in the ordinance, and you're keeping taxpayers happy because you have a medical professional on there who's offering advice on a paramedicine program with a $1.5 million budget in the county, and you're keeping fiscal responsibility with the council members, which is all the council's wanting.
If you read the statute, the commissioners are in charge of that. We are going to be the ones that have to catch all the H when something goes wrong. And I feel like a commissioner does need to be represented. And the only thing I'm asking for, I'd like to have both commissioners on the board to know everything about it. And I feel like it'd be the best decision for the county. We started this, you wasn't there, and I did. I started with Troy Nichols, I moved to Scott, you found Nick. Nick, we all agree, everybody here agrees, Nick has done an outstanding job. And then you asked me in budget how I felt about it. And I said it's a lot of money, 1.5, when we was at 1.1. My concern has always been the return of the investment for the taxpayer of the county. And yet, we've started with nothing. We had a poor fleet. We had a poor building. We had a staff that didn't really know. And we changed it, and we turned around, and we progressed forward as we went ahead. Now, I'm not saying we've done an outstanding job, but we've tried to provide the best service for this county we could do. We've tried to be responsible to the taxpayer, to provide the care. And sometimes we knew we was going to foot the bill to provide health care and emergency services to the county. Now, I in no time have ever tried to take anything away from Troy, Scott, or Nick. And I'll do my darndest to make sure that we continue on. Nobody wanted to do. And when Seals did approach me, there's no two ways about it. And they offered me a contract. And what they was offering me was more to our ambulance people than we could provide. And it would alleviate the cost to the county. But it wasn't my decision on that part. They was offering more in health benefits. They was offering more in trucks. And yes, I considered it. But I wanted the ambulance people to hear the benefits they could do and let them make their mind up. And we had a couple that was going to get into retirement. I didn't want that person hurt. So they accepted, Seals did offer to pick up the retirement. And it was a good deal. But our ambulance people didn't want to go down that road. Therefore, they gave up some money that Seals could pay that we couldn't pay. They give more benefits than we could do. Our own people don't have that luxury. But it was going to be their decision to still provide. And then we know where we went on transfers. And we're still in a holding pattern on that. And that's going to be coming up sooner or later. Maybe. We hope. Can be. Possibility. But I don't know for sure. And I can't bank on getting that tomorrow. It may be a year, it may be 2 years, it may be 3 years, may not be at all. But let's hope so. And I haven't tried cutting this ambulance service. I have not tried to undermine Nick or you or Preston or anybody else. But we still hold responsibility to the taxpayer to provide the best possible medical. I done that when I was in the fire department. I'm doing it in the county. And there's a feeling right now that everybody's going to undermine. It's not undermining. You called me last night. I'll be honest. When I left here yesterday, I went home and went to bed. I wasn't feeling good, and it wasn't COVID. And it was too late to get up. Right now, today, I really feel like it'd be best if all three commissioners were on the board. And if you need to get a hold of somebody, you don't have to call me personally. You don't have to call Todd. You don't have to call Rick. But this idea that we're all against Nick, throw it out the window because it's not there. The three of us don't agree on that much, I'll be honest with you. And you've got two council members that seem to be more in together than us three commissioners.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
One more time.
Yes.
And I'm going to come.
Yeah, okay. And who are you?
My name is Amy Whistler. I'm a nurse practitioner of the certified in South Health, and I am also ACLS certified. You may not understand what that you guys are all three commissioners. And you as president of the ambulance board, if you feel there's a lack of communication, that's saying something about you. Attendance that's open to the public, that they could go.
I would be lying if I said I understood anything you said. Would you care to pull your mask down?
I'm trying to adhere to.
No, I'm sorry. You're 6 feet away.
But you guys are not. So you guys are not 6 feet away, you're not wearing masks. This is a concern if all three are one commission.
If we are going by Holcomb's recommendation, it is social distancing 6 feet away. If you're in a meeting setting, you can not wear a mask.
I'm just saying. I work in the healthcare field. I understand.
Are we talking about mask
So-
wearing, or are we going to talk about?
No, I'm getting back to my point. So what I was saying was that in the newspaper article, it was stated that there was lack of communication between the ambulance board and the commissioners. That's what was stated in the newspaper article. You as president of both entities, being president of commissioners,
Right.
president of the ambulance board,
Right.
I would be offended by that.
How did I get by with that?
No, I said I would be offended by that, because that's saying something about you if they're feeling there's no lack of, or there is a lack of communication.
I also seen last night that there was 14 miscalculations of the previous. We watched the finances, we watched the trucks, we watched the drains, we watched the building, we watched the generator, we watched everything else.
I understand that.
Now, when I leave the meeting with what's said, Karen, have you and Nick ever met without me?
We meet, yes, we talk. That's my entire point to my
And
first
Rondell?
conversation.
As Rondell?
Rondell runs up to the ambulance service and talks to Nick regularly.
And I'm sure that is reported back to you.
It is.
So my next question is, if they feel there's a lack of communication, how many public meetings have they attended for the ambulance board? Because those are open to the public, and they could attend.
Counsel, is it not true that we cannot legally attend where there's a majority of commissioners at a meeting?
Unless it's published, correct.
The ambulance board meetings are open to the public every Thursday at 9, or every third Thursday at 9 a.m. So that is pretty much published.
But we cannot attend.
They can't attend.
Okay, so how many reports have you requested from the ambulance board if you were concerned about lack of communication?
What I do is report back to them on...
They're saying there's a lack of communication.
No.
That's exactly what was stated in the newspaper
Yeah,
article.
I know what was said in the newspaper. I seen what was said on Facebook last night.
I don't put my
Well,
faith
that's
into
okay, I
Facebook.
do. And am I to question Becky? No, because we're moving on to different things. My concern is the concerns of that building out there and that gentleman back there.
So the next concern that I have is all three commissioners person has a medical knowledge of what was on the unit.
I agree, but that's why I rely on that gentleman back there and also our doctor, county doctor.
Yes, and he never attends the meetings, is that not true?
No, that's true. Unless we need him, then we get on the phone, call the Board of Health contacts him for the answer.
But why should a medical professional not always be at the meeting?
Well, that one I can't answer you. I can't answer you that one.
I consider the director of the ambulance service a medical professional.
Yes, absolutely, but he's not a voting member.
If I've been told correctly, I don't know of any instance where anyone on the board has gone against the recommendations or wishes of the director.
They haven't in this whole 8 years I've been here. Nobody's ever went against what the director recommended. Now, maybe that was right, maybe it was wrong. According to the newspaper, we had 14 cases, what probably wasn't right.
It's just a concern that there's going to be 3 commissioners versus 2 council members.
No, what it comes down to is everybody thinks that the commissioners are going to outrun the 2 council members, and that's not true. It still comes back to our job as commissioners is to take care of the taxpayer, and that's what we're looking at.
I will leave you with this. I made this statement to Tom Healy.
Thank you.
May I speak?
Sure.
This situation, in my opinion, is being blown totally out of proportion. I'm getting the impression for some reason that we're some kind of evil people wanting to do in the ambulance service, and the last time I checked, we're all residents of Washington County, and this is some kind of a power grab or a takeover of the ambulance service, and it's honestly, it's wearing me out. There's an old saying, many hands make the workload less. I have watched from a distance and heard bits and pieces because I am not on the ambulance board. I've watched Karen and Phil work very, very hard in making this ambulance service what it is now. They have made, and Rondale also, they've made some good decisions. The biggest decision they made recently in the last few months was hiring a new director, and he's doing a fabulous job. We're headed in the right direction, but there's a lot of work to be done. There's still lots and lots of growing pains. We can always do a little bit better, and I honestly believe that it's in the best interest of the county to increase the size of the board, to help distribute the burden of the work a little bit more. And maybe if we do that, this hearsay and gossip and he said, she said will cease because of the parties involved. Everyone will have their eyes opened as to exactly what is going on, especially with the money. We have put hundreds of thousands of dollars when we moved out there to that new building. We built it and designed it, remodeled it, I should say. It was an existing building, based on what the employees felt like they wanted and needed. You know, there will always be times when you don't get things exactly right, but it is a very good facility, and if someone disagrees with that, I would like to hear what we need to change. We try to keep the ambulances up because everyone is concerned about the health and safety and welfare of everyone in this county. And I have said many times there is a sense of pride in saying this is the Washington County ambulance service. We're not subcontracting out to someone else. If anything can be said, we can all disagree on lots of little things, but we all do agree 100% that we want the Washington County ambulance service to remain viable, and we don't really want to subcontract it out to someone else, because then we lose control. Then we don't have any control over prices or service. And, you know, it kind of makes me feel a little bit better and gives me peace of mind knowing that the ambulance employees are people that I've known for many, many years who know the county roads, and they're not going to get lost, even with GPS. You know, sometimes GPS leads you down the wrong road, but I feel a little bit better and sleep a little bit better at night knowing that these are local people who have a vested interest in my county and my life. If I'm out here digging a ditch, or say I belong to Gideon's International, I'm handing out New Testaments at a local university. Can I hand out more New Testaments, and can I dig more feet of ditch if there are 5 versus 3? Can I get more work done? I believe so. Nick, I know she's standing up there. Would you like to speak? Or?
Yeah, I think a lot of these rumors and issues are starting because I'm not the one being asked these questions to. And you're getting false information. And that's why I don't have faith in this. If you can't approach me, how am I supposed to trust you? And I'm not saying you individually.
Okay, I appreciate that. Well, once again, I'm not saying this to make an excuse, but
I've done nothing but bust my butt, especially every single one of my employees since I've been here. And in 5 months turnaround, you see something that should have taken over a year to take place.
I understand that.
Continuity and uniformization between all of us.
That's-
There's trust between every single one of us.
I understand
I
that.
have zero lack of faith in any one of my employees, and they shouldn't in me because I'm not giving. You can't talk to me, and you have to go behind my back to get information because you think I'm not going to get it to you. That's why I don't have faith in this.
I agree with that.
And those are not rumors, those are facts.
I know I've got an internal issue that's giving information out that's wrong information, and that's fine. I'll handle it.
Okay.
Nothing but approach everyone. I know I've called you individually. I've called Mr. Marshall. Me and Preston have talked on the phone. Karen and I talked on the phone. I've called Tyler. I've called Michelle. I have no problem going directly to the person that I need to talk to. Ever. And
I understand that.
so I understand that more hands make less work,
Yes.
but if some of those hands are feeding back into the hole that you're digging, how is that making less work?
It's creating a bigger issue and hindering county government.
That would remain to be seen. You can't, that remains to be seen.
How does that remain to be seen if it's happening right now and
Because
it's
the
hindering
board's
county government?
not been restructured yet.
If the board's not restructured yet, and this problem isn't fixed now before it happens on the board, it's not going to fix the board. It's only going to make it worse. That's common sense. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean or disrespectful by any means, but that's common sense. That said individual picked up the phone and called other county employees in other offices and disrupted their work time yesterday because they didn't have guts enough to pick up the phone and call the man in charge. That's all there is to it. And that's been continuing and going on for a very long time, and it needs to stop. If it hasn't stopped now, it's not going to get any better when they get on the board.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Preston.
If you said more hands, makes it better, so why don't you add 3 commissioners and 3 council on the voting?
Be an odd number of voting, be deadlock.
You have a 3-3 tie on votes.
Add a medical professional.
We have a medical professional at our fingertips.
He he's not opposed to adding one that's a voting member.
I think 5 is a good number. Based on that, I will now make a motion to restructure the ambulance board to include myself and Commissioner Roberts for a total of 5 members. Rondell Bushabird, Karen, Phil, myself, and Rick at this time.
Doc made a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Highway Department, Rick?